Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It's Friday, April the 5th, the year 2019. Let's talk trading. Weekly wrap up, and it's NFP day. I hope you've had a profitable NFP day. And if you didn't, I hope you didn't lose more than what you were willing to lose. In other words, I hope you employed and deployed your money and risk management. And if we take a look here at the weekly chart, and we can see we still have 3 unfilled gaps. Well, that's not bad. Most of the gaps filled. Just so happens Euro Yen was one of the gaps that didn't fill. It got close, but no cigar. And you can see, once again, we are above the previous week's high. That was a nice trade passing through the 125.00 mark. And once again, we are right at the yearly open, just below it by 1 pip. So it looks like the Euro Yen is trying to come back to about this point, because that was a nice big candle, and price likes to return to the open of big candles. And we're going through all the charts, even though this week we were focusing on the buy zone, but we'll notice here the first day of the week, the high, the low. Notice that we got a open gapped above the high, almost came back to it, but continued up. You can see here a second bounce right about that same level. So once again, price leaves footprints right here. These are the footprints. You can see here it went up, it retraced, and then it did the same thing again. That's usually referred to as ranging. And for 2019, we can see first the January open, the February open, the March open, and the April open. And here's the once again the opening day range for April, but you can see here it's still below January and February's high. And it's also below the March high. Inside bar once again proved to be profitable. You can see we had an inside bar yesterday. And there's more inside bars. Inside bar is not one of my methods. I don't know if I'll do a whole week on inside bars. Let me know if you want me to do a whole week on inside bars, and I can add that to the list. Daily range. This is NFP day, and we only have 3 pairs over 100. With the Euro Yen only 34 pips. I'm not sure why price isn't ranging more on an NFP day. There were some people saying that it wasn't going to range. I guess the news was ho-hum. But you see here, we put in a monthly H1 highest open, and you had a couple of opportunities to get short there. And looking at the buy zone, you only had 2 chances to enter. Pivot point was close to the open, so that bias was off. But the price did fill the pivot. that give the open to pivot gap. Rat zone, not in a range, only 33. That is just so anemic. It's not, especially on an NFP day. It is just so anemic. In fact, over on the Forex Factory, on their news, they've taken the ADP, the Wednesday report, and they've changed that from red news to orange news. Pretty soon NFP is going to get changed to orange news if it keeps doing this. I mean, this is just no reaction at all. You can see we've taken out the monthly pivot. I don't know. I don't think we talked about the monthly pivot since we switched over to the buy zone. Or maybe I did on the first day of the month. I don't recall. But once again, we took out monthly pivot. The weekly pivot is still open. So that might become a missed pivot. We hit the pivot today. We hit the pivot yesterday and the day before. But you can see here on the 1st, we still have a missed pivot. And on the 29th of March, we have a missed pivot with the 2 January missed pivots. Uh-oh, I did something I didn't want to do here. And it looks like they're still recording. Good. Price action. I mean, come on. NFP came out last hour and we didn't even cover 20 pips. That is just anemic. You can see though the wick zone price keeps popping out and we've had a few closes above. Once again, there's previous day's high line, trading the crossover with the candle color. And you can see here, we dropped down, maybe about 5-7 pips. The Einstein line, I left this from last night. It's still the same day here, but it was nighttime. I just wanted to see and show you how you can use this line as your own buy zone. I was thinking it might even be a little bit spikier than what it was. But you see here, there was a nice move to the upside, came right back, moved to the downside, and it came back, a trigger there, a couple more, and you see here during NFP, it triggered short, triggered long. But you can see these trades were what, maybe 8 pips. So look in the bag 5 per trade or 3 per trade. It's just not that much movement. And as you can see here, after NFP, things have settled back down. But this is showing how whenever you start trading, using that as your open, price is going to range. Now, it didn't range that much, but it still ranges. And that's the whole point. We can exploit that using the buy zone technique. Now, when you do this, a lot of times you might want to wait and set it at the hour open because you know the range of an hour bar is going to be usually bigger than 5 pips. And I think I've showed you that. See, this is the frequency range here on D1. And the gauge here. This is an old gauge. Let's see, I did this one in 2013, but actually it's the same information from the old indicators from about 2008 when it had the arrows and the fun stuff I was doing back then. So if we switch over to H1, you can see it's usually bigger than 10 pips, and I said it's usually bigger than 5 pips. So let's go in here, frequency distribution range. Oh, this one doesn't allow. This is an older indicator. It doesn't allow for the user to change the range. So I'd have to get a newer version of the frequency distribution to show that. But you can see here, 48% of the time is between 0 and 9. So if I cut that down to 5, I have no idea. But we know 52% it's bigger. So it's almost a coin toss. But that's kind of like Vegas odds. You know, you've got 52%. Actually, it's better than some Vegas odds. Just that slight chance. 52% it's bigger than 10. So you know if you've got a 5 pip range, it's going to stick out because 10 doesn't fit in the 5. And here, this is basically rat zone information, high to close, close to low. But what we can do here, oh, no, not. What I wanted to do was change the time frame. And I wanted to look at 1 hour. I don't. Okay, we don't change the inputs. That's a 2013. That's why. But you can see here, high to close, 0 to 9, 77. Close to low, 0 to 9, 74. So this is saying from the open, you know, trying to catch a 10 pipper. Actually, no, not from the open, from the range coming back the other way. You can see here trying to come off a H1 high or an H1 low by more than 10 pips. It's not usually going to happen. The wicks aren't that big. So that's it, fellow traders. Once again, I hope you had a good NFP day. And if you have questions, feel free to post them in the comments. And if you're having a problem with anything, an indicator, please send me a chart, the whole chart. Don't cut off parts. I need to see all the information to help you. Just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So next week, come back and let's drain the banks. Have a good weekend.